Dr. Parikh, great to have you back on the show. Now, when we last discussed the COVID situation, things seem to be improving by and large across India. We were optimistic about the vaccination drive that seemed to be gathering pace, especially with the involvement of the private sector. But the fact of the matter is that even though close to 30 million Indians have been vaccinated by now, there are huge fears with the spike that we've seen in COVID cases in many parts of the country, including where you are, Maharashtra, Kerala, Karnataka, and there are of course fears in a city like Delhi where students are being asked to take exams offline. Parents are too scared to send them back to school. So how serious do you think this situation really is? And frankly, those COVID shots can't really help us much right now, because most people have only got a single shot so far, isn't it?
You're absolutely right, Neha. It's always a pleasure to be with you. One of the things I find quite interesting is that your questions give away most of the answer because your concerns are legitimate. And I'm also glad that, we are discussing the situation now, because any discussion on schools reopening being decided by opinion polls, I find quite ridiculous. A lot of the decisions, not just about school opening, but many other decisions, have to be driven by data, have to be driven by analysis, and not just by opinion polls. I mean, nobody takes an opinion poll to ask people whether they'd like to wear helmets or whether they'd like seat belts. The experts decide, and then people have to do it for their own safety and that of others. This is a far more serious situation. So coming to your specific question, obviously it is a situation for concern. And we have to understand, and I think I discussed that on your previous show, that more than anything else, it is in the nature of this virus to mutate. It is in the nature of this illness to have second and third waves. We seen this historically 100 years ago. We are seeing this today. Italy, Germany are now seeing an incipient third wave, which might actually sweep across Europe. And we are possibly dealing with a second wave. We did discuss that, amidst all the optimism in our previous discussion. I alluded to, Julius Caesar by Shakespeare and talked of Caesar's assassination. Well, today, 15th of March, is the anniversary of Caesar's assassination, which occurred in 44 BC. And he had been warned that he might be assassinated. And as he went to the Senate, where he eventually did get killed, he saw the soothsayer and said, the Ides of March have arrived. And the soothsayer said, aye, but not yet gone. So the pandemic is not gone. The virus is not yet gone. And our focus must be on containing this pandemic rather than on taking opinion polls of young children as to what kind of preference they would have in the exams.
That sounds ominous, Doctor. The way you've put it, it really sounds ominous. Very quickly, before I go back to the ladies on the panel, you essentially seem to be in disagreement with the decision of the Delhi government to hold exams offline?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you have half a minute, I could just show you an illustration. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Okay.
Here is a picture. It's from our book, the new book, the vaccine book. And you see three clear-cut waves of the pandemic, which occurred 100 years ago. The second wave was far more devastating than the first. And the third wave, although less than the second, was even more devastating than the first. We are seeing history repeat itself in Europe. We are seeing part of it happening in Kerala, which had a fabulous record of getting the pandemic under control.
Yes.
We are seeing it happening in Maharashtra. I think the message is quite clear. We need to be cautious. We cannot
afford to let our guard down.
Sense of security.
Absolutely.
And so
And you're right, I mean, if history is anything to go by, the Spanish flu saw a deadly second wave. And is that what the world is experiencing right now? Is that what India needs to brace itself for?